everyone, welcome to my channel Nuances with me, or welcome back if you have already been in this space before. I hope you're doing good. I am doing great. So I am heading out somewhere, and I had some spare time left and some thoughts to share. So I quickly thought of using this time while I get ready, talk about what I've been feeling from a couple of days. Me and my mom just sit, by the side of this eatery, and we were just discussing about few random things. And she brings up something from the past. It's been or 5 years to this incident, which I didn't know up until now. It 4 years, 5 years ago, we had been to my mom's cousin's home, which is not in the same state as I am. So we have traveled out of the state for a function, and we happened to meet her cousin who lives there. So in the middle of the function we were primarily supposed to attend, we make this plan and quickly take some time out to go visit her, because my mom had not seen her in a long time now. We go there to visit my mom's cousin, and we reach their home, and we have conversation about, that was also the first time I was meeting her and she was meeting me in a long time. So we spent about not more than maybe 2-3 hours there, given that we also had another main function to attend. So we go there, and we spend some time, we just sit, chit chat. And usually when I go meet people who are very close and important to my mom, I look forward to them talking about my mom and the time that they spent with her, and the kind of bond that they shared, and the fun times that they had. How were the times when they were really young, and the kind of bond that they shared back then, because I feel every relationship has changed today, and some have aged well and some have not. We just spend 2-3 hours like I mentioned, and we get out of that place and start to the function where we originally were scheduled to go. Cut to the conversation that me and my mom were having. She just brings up that, you remember that cousin of ours who we met, blah blah blah, 4-5 years back, where we went to this function. And I told her, yeah, I do. What about that? So she casually mentioned that, so that cousin of mine, she told me that your daughter seems to be lazy. I was like, say what? Yeah, she told me that your daughter seems to be lazy. I was like, okay, so what makes her say that? I was like, no idea. Because opinion as huge and big as this about someone's child who you have barely met, and I might have spent few casual hours at someone's home, because when I am at a stranger's place, I usually just confine to that one sofa or chair that I'm sitting to. I don't move around. I am not comfortable with exploring other people's home until and unless they offer and give that house tour to go check the home out. I personally feel like we cannot get into people's personal space, no matter who they are, because everyone have their own preferences of keeping the home with the way they want to, or have a few personal stuffs lying around. So I don't usually go around checking people's homes. So I just sit at one place. So what made me wonder was, I literally spent some hardly 2-3 hours of my time there, and she was meeting me for the first time. Me, in my perspective, that meeting was very casual. But when I hear my mom say this, that this is the opinion that she has of you, Of course, this might not be a major one, but this was definitely the one that she chose to highlight, because if my mom remembers that particular remark from last 4 5 years, I am pretty sure it has made an impact in her memory. So this is a conversation that I'm having with my mom, who is of course helpless, because she cannot control what other people think of me or her or anyone for that matter, right? Because she told me this, it triggered me. So I asked my mother, now you tell me what must have made her think that I am a lazy person. I don't remember, doing anything specifically to come across as a lazy person, because when I am in someone's place and if I am offered with something, I pick up the glass myself, I pick up the plates myself. And I'm not saying that this is something great that I do, but this is a practice of mine, which I usually follow wherever I am, until and unless the host is comfortable to let me into their kitchen or spaces like that. Can you help me understand if there is any context to this? I mean, people might have had opinions behind my back, but this is the first time that I am coming face to face with opinion of a person whom I have met for the first time. My mom had, of course, very little idea about what, and I feel like every mothers feel that their children, or especially daughters, are lazy, because compared to how much of workload they have and they chose to at home or otherwise, we don't do that. We are built a little different and we choose a little different than what they did. So I completely agree that in comparison to my mother, I am definitely not as much of a task doer as she is, as much of an enthusiast when it comes to, oh, okay, I'm going to finish this work, do that job, do this at home, do this cleaning, do that. No, I do very limited things to keep myself and my surrounding neat, tidy, and decent. That is it. Mom told me that some people gauge others, just by one interaction, one meeting, and all that. I understand that people gauge others by one meeting or one, interaction. To brand someone lazy, I felt is a little niche, area, because when I meet someone, maybe the max that I can tell honestly is if this person is moody or reserved or introvert, ambivert. So these are the things that I can come to a conclusion when I meet a person for the first time. I really cannot say if a person is hardworking or lazy. I don't know, so many other things like that, which to me is very personal traits that people will know only when you live with them, not when you meet them, right? My mom told me that she might have gauged it just by looking at some people do that, they can do it very quickly, but still I was not convinced. Sorry, that's not how it works. She must really have a strong reason to come to a conclusion about a person who she has barely met and who has not even done something significantly to come across as a lazy person. Give that huge ass opinion to my mother that your daughter seems to be lazy. That is not a very good thing and a kind thing to do when you have someone at home for the first time. I mean, I wouldn't really have or form such opinions about anyone, not even with my younger generations, because I think this is where we box people in a certain manner. We look at them, we judge them, and we are very quick to come to that decision of whether this person is good or bad, or doing well in their life or not. Honestly, we cannot take everything by face value. As the saying goes, don't judge a book by its cover, right? So we should not do that with people either. I might look lazy to you. I could be the most smartly working person behind the back, because not everyone's style or way of doing things is hard work, right? There are people who have those ways of working really hard and getting where they want to get, but there are also people who choose their own ways to get work done that they are supposed to do in the most smartest, quickest way, and it is their own ways of doing things. Finding someone you know lazy, hardworking, that's highly subjective. I personally choose not to do or pass such a decisive comment on people that I meet, because I really want to get to know them and see how they really are, and things like that. So this could be a very small remark from a third person's perspective, because that's okay. People can call you lazy, hardworking, blah 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 blah. However, I found it a little strange because I don't do it myself, and of course, I cannot expect people to just be like me and think the way I do. However, such remarks when I visit my relatives, people who I am not in touch with on a daily basis, I personally feel they don't get to form such opinions about me or whosoever they meet, in their life, right? If I'm saying that is my mom's cousin, you must all know that, she is as old as my mother, and they should kind of have positive things to tell to children, and at least to their mothers, right? Because I mean, today this thing came to me when I was least expecting it, and I didn't even know something like this had happened like 4 5 years back when I visited some random relative of mine. However, I'm sure it must have made some kind of impact on my mother, although she is very practical and very accepting of things when someone says a few things, and she's very sportive when it comes to things like that. But still, I think it must have hit her some wrong spots. I'm sure it might have stayed with her, and so it came out in the most random situation, and in a random place. I can hear thin, fat, dark, fair, beautiful, ugly, all sorts of remarks, right? This is very general when it comes to Indian relatives or the family setup. But to get a remark saying, she seems to be lazy, I must have really done something amazing. So it just stayed with me, and I don't know, this is the first time that I am coming face to face to something like this. Maybe my mom might have heard so many opinions coming to her like this, but she might have chosen not to share with me. So these were the thoughts that I had. I don't know if my mind is overreacting, or because this is something of this kind, I am taken aback. But things like this definitely stays with us. So what I think is, we have to take a step back every time we judge someone, or rather it's better we don't do it, because nothing about a person is written on a stone. A person who could be the most hardworking person today might change tomorrow, and the other way around is true as well. So I feel we should, at least this is what I do. I don't come to a conclusion, or maybe I'll definitely have thoughts about a person when I meet. There is no denying to that. I do. I refrain from making judgment about that person, because I myself have changed a lot over the years, and I'm sure everyone has their hard days and the days where they're just not their best self. We should give that to people, and have patience and take a pause, and give it a thought before you pass a judgment about someone. And especially if you are someone who is around children, this can scar them for the longest period if they are in their growing years, right? So it is one thing to let them know that, hey, you're being lazy, or you're being this which is not good for your own well-being. That's a different thing to let them know what are the pros and cons of their habits or behaviors. But to have a strong opinion, especially the negative ones, about children, and kind of passing it on to their parents, I think is not a very kind or sweet thing to do. Just here to share what was just hogging my mind space all this while. I don't know if this is a strange experience, or if you have gone through something like this or something similar to this, do let me know. As far as we are concerned, let's try and be kind and non judgmental as much as possible. Our thoughts and words can definitely make or break how someone thinks about themselves, or how someone look at themselves in the mirror, right? It can have a huge shift inside their head, which no one else can change after the damage has been done. I personally don't know how to deal with situations like this, because one, it is in the past, and two, there's nothing really I want to do about it. But however, I felt, this was very strange, something that I wanted to share in here. And because I'm sure we all hear things from people day in and day out, right? And if this experience of mine helps anyone, or if you can help me, to kind of decode that, okay, people can have opinions, and they can do even if you've barely met them, or meet them for a few hours, right? So this is a bit about why we should stay kind and try not to judge people for who they are, and give everyone a benefit of doubt until you really get to know the person. So this was a little bit of story time, and I hope you liked it. And until next time, until next story, stay tuned, and come back here again. Thank you, and you all have a great day. Bye bye.